What's happening, guys? Pete back with you for an all-new edition of the Music Box Pete podcast to kick off 2026. Hope you guys are doing well. Seems like it's been forever. I think it's been over a month since the last episode. But anyway, hope everybody had a great Christmas, New Year's, holidays, and all that, and just ready to get things rolling. So in today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about... This one sort of kind of melts in while we'll talk about like the modern rock tracks and all, but this is with a different publication called the Billboard Airplay Monitor. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Some of you might know of it and some of you might not, but it is kind of a fascinating thing because I've been sort of diving deep into it, doing some research on it too. So I've been sort of going back through worldradiohistory.com, all the old issues, and also look into some of the local stations. But primarily I'm just going to focus on FNX, just on that, because that's one station I listen to the most. I mean, again, I did listen to BCN a lot back in the day, or I should say I dabbled in BCN a little bit back in the day, but FNX was what I primarily listened to. But we're going to focus on those stations and just sort of look through the lists, because I have a couple of lists, and these are sort of the year-end lists versus the weekly ones too, because I don't want to go through like the whole history of the magazine, but just sort of go through the year-end lists from FNX from 99 through 2001. Just talk about some of the songs, the formula, what they use to sort of detect it, because it is sort of an interesting thing, and it factored in a lot to what was featured on the Modern Rock Tracks chart as well. So just a little history about Billboard Radio Monitor, or Airplay Monitor, because it started off as Billboard Radio Monitor, then switched to Airplay Monitor. But basically what it was a weekly music trade publication that followed the radio industry, track monitoring current songs by format, station, and audience cues. So they had different genres. They actually had it separated. It was started out in 93. It was a 8-page publication. So it had Top 40, Rhythm 40, Crossover, Urban, AC, Hot AC, Rock, Alternative, and Country. Eventually, later, what they did was they combined them all in 2001, changed to Billboard Radio Monitor in 03. In 06, it ceased publication. It was relaunched under Radio Records. Basically had to do with the merger, and then it ceased publication on June 5th, 2009, which is actually around the time, I believe, that the Modern Rock Tracks switched to alternative songs. That's what it had to do with, because I think what happened was... The Billboard Modern Rock Tracks chart was sourced from the Airplay Monitor and under Radio Records. Once Radio Records ceased publication on June 5th of 2009, then they switched to alternative songs because it was a more modern usage of the term alternative, because everybody had been using it by that point. So for the Rock Airplay Monitor, it covered 5. So it was Active Rock, Heritage Rock, Mainstream Rock, which is basically combined playlists from the Active and the Heritage Rock, Modern Rock, and AAA. It was kind of interesting to sort of delve deep in that too, because and even more recently, it's a switch again as well too, because I think I forget who do they use now, because I think I talked about this in a private in a previous episode. Luminate, that was the name of the new company that took over and sources the alternative Airplay chart data from here on out. So it used to be Mediabase, and Mediabase has been around for a while. Mediabase, which is an old company, they electronically monitored the U.S. modern rock radio stations 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, tracking song spins to rank popularity based purely on Airplay impressions. And Luminate, which was formerly Nielsen BDS, forms the backbone of the chart and reflecting spins on monitored alternative stations. So basically, here's how it works. So the Mediabase monitoring, which was with the old company, but now it's now Luminate now. But so a network of U.S. alternative radio stations is electronically monitored. Luminate now collects data on every song played on these stations. This raw spin data is analyzed by Luminate to calculate audience impressions, how many people heard the song. Then Billboard uses these audience impressions to compile the weekly alternative Airplay chart, ranking songs by total weekly spins and reach. So that information is not publicly viewable. If you had Billboard Airplay Monitor back in the day, that information was publicly viewable. So all the if you go to worldradiohistory.com, you can view all the old issues right there. So it has from like 94 up until 2001, but you can still search from some other websites and might be lucky enough to find one that wasn't there. So definitely reach your heart's content there. But I'm just going to focus on FNX for a while in the year-end charts from 99 through 2001. So for FNX for 99, let's see. So this was from November 15th of 99 to November 12th of 2000. So it's actually from 2000. So from 2000 through 2002. So the year and date. See, a lot of this is one of my, this is what grinds my gears in terms of like year-end charts and what date. For me, for my personal charts, it's from January 1st through December 7th, so through the end of the first week of December. For some reason, Billboard, they do it from like October 31st of the prior year to November 1st of the current year. That makes absolutely no sense. For FNX, their year-end chart is sourced from November 15th of 99 to November 12th of 2000. So they go from like mid-November of the prior year to mid-November of the current year. So that's how they did it. So just go, this is from year-end 2000. So Incubus's Pardon Me had 879 detections that year. So that was the most played song, followed by Blink-182's Adam Song at 876. Korn, Make Me Bad at 843. Papa Roach, Last Resort at 836. Disturbed, Stupefy, 779. Three Doors Down, Kryptonite, 778. Cypress Hill, Superstar, 762. A Perfect Startle, Judith, 752. Deftones, Change at 744. And Stains Home at 704. And just going through outside the list real quick, it's interesting to sort of go back in time and what was being played on FNX back in the day. So yeah, they played Korn, yeah, they played Limp Bizkit and all that stuff, which I listened to quite a bit back in the day, but quickly grew out of as I got into my sophomore or junior year of high school. And they played Eminem back then. They played Real Slim Shady, Lose Yourself way back in the day. So they did play some hip hop. I think they played like Run DMC, but that was the only one I can remember them playing regularly is like Christmas and Hollis during like the holidays and whatnot. But I think they still played some like regular Run DMC songs too as well. So what else did they play? Bloodhound Gang, The Bad Touch. Oh God, I remember that. I haven't heard that in years. Groove Armada, I remember them playing that. I think they played Basement Jacks, I think. Did they also? Yeah. Stroke 9, oh God, I remember them. I thought they were a Boston band, but I guess they weren't. I think they're from like California or something. SR-71, I remember them. Yeah, so that's interesting going back. So let's go to the year-end chart from 2001. So this is from November 13th of 2000 to November 11th of 2001. Incubus's Drive was the number one song of that year, 1,065. Linkin Park, One Step Closer with 1,062 detections. Tool's Schism at number 3 with 983. Saliva's Your Disease at 942. Stained, It's Been a While at 906. Three Doors Down's Duck and Run at 874. Weezer's Hashpipe at 863. Tantric's Breakdown at 828. Linkin Park's Crawling at 815. And Crazy Town's Butterfly at 806. And this is sort of the funny thing, just Incubus was number one in all of these charts, except for 02, because Godsmack was number one in that one as well, too. But Incubus was number one for the first 2 years from 2000 to 2001. I just thought that was an interesting thing. But looking through 2001, oh God, Crazy Town's Butterfly, that was such a god-awful song, because it sampled a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, Pretty Little Ditty, if I remember correctly. Godsmack, God, everybody was in love with Sully Erna, especially the ladies. I have no idea why. Probably because he was a Wiccan or something. I don't know. Of course, Stained was back then. Of course, Aaron Luce of Stained. They were formed out in Springfield. American Hi-Fi, they were a big Boston band as well, too. So there's a lot of local love. That's what FNX did better than BCM. They really catered and really played a lot of the local artists. So if you heard it here first on FNX, that was sort of their motto, like you heard it here first. Especially when it came about breaking out the local acts. I remember there's another band too. I remember Aberdeen City, if I remember correctly. I think the members went to like BC, and so that they had like an off-campus apartment like ComAv or something too. And I mean they were huge again. The Freezing Atlantic, I remember, was that what it was called? Yeah, God, I haven't not listened to them in like ages upon ages and ages. But that was just a band that I remember that FNX played quite a bit. They were based in Boston. They originated in Brighton, 2001. The Freezing Atlantic, yeah, that was it. So they're active from 01 to 09, disbanded there. But, they were off. They did like a local tour, sold out shows on the East Coast. And I think they broke up because I think one of the members went to grad school and everything too, just sort of thing. But I just remember Aberdeen City was all over the place, just in terms of local bands. But just that's what sort of FNX did great back then. And just seeing these year-end lists too really, shows like what they played in terms of like what songs are having national recognition, and also ones that are getting some local love as well too. So let's go with the year-end FNX list from 2002. And the dates for these are from November 12th, 2001 to November 17th of 2002. Godsmack's I Stand Alone was number one with 1,123 detections. Il Nino, What Comes Around at 977, second. Third, System of a Down, Toxicity, 929. Korn's Here to Stay at number 4 with 914. Stains for You at number 5 with 882. System of a Down, Aerials at 876, number 6. Hoobastank's Crawling in the Dark at number 7 with 849. Puddle Mud's Drift and Die at number 8 with 832. Earshot's Getaway at number 9 with 804. And POD's Youth of the Nation at number 10 with 770. This is sort of like what the butt rock, or I should call it like armpit rock, was coming in. Like Puddle, Mud, Disturbed. Oh god, all the Earshots, sort of like one-hit wonder bands. Trick Turner. Default, Waste My Time. There are some other cool bands. Tool was pretty awesome. Rob Zombie, of course, from Haverhill. They played him quite a bit. I think this is where FNX started change and started played less of the commercial rock and more of the indie stuff. That's when I think they started transition. I remember they were one of the first stations to play Hot Hot Heat, this indie band from Canada, who are absolutely awesome, who I still listen to on a regular basis. So they sort of deviated from that, and that's what set FNX apart too. And just BCN, I just did not. I gravitated further and further away from BCN and just listened solely to FNX. Probably from 2002 on until they went off the air a decade after that, back in 2012. So it's fascinating to go back in time, just see all these lists, especially with the Billboard Airplay monitor and how it factors into today's chart for alternative airplay. So we'll be doing fun little episodes all throughout the year, just seeing the comings and goings of the chart, how it's sourced, and sort of the inner workings behind it too, because I find it really fascinating. The only thing that I don't like about Billboard, just sort of the fact that a lot of the past charts are behind a paywall, and I've been trying to figure out ways to sort of go behind it, turn off JavaScript in my browser and hit X before the page loads. I've gotten some tips on how to do that. It works for something too. There's a way to archive it, or just screenshot or whatever, just save it, or do whatever. But that's one thing I don't like about it too, and just the amount of ads are on the Billboard website. That's one thing, because I just got a new computer recently. Because every time I would go on the Billboard website with my old computer, because I had a MacBook Air, which was decent, but just it only had 8 gigs of memory. Mine has 32 now, so I just got an upgrade, a Mac Mini. I go on the website. This is my old computer, and I just hear that humming of the fan from this is how I know I got a new computer. But it's strictly Billboard's website too, because they have so many ads on there, and the loading, and the JavaScript, and But when I view it on this computer, no problem. But I think a way to sort of get behind the paywall is to turn off JavaScript. That's a tip I've gotten. I'll try to play around with it and see what further I can do to get further access to the other charts. But that's just one of the more frustrating things about Billboard. I wonder if Billboard's on its way out. I have no idea. I'm just surmising, throwing something out there. But this is pretty cool. And then future episodes, I'll be talking more about alternative airplay, and just in different forms, how it's sort of formed and whatnot. Sort of go behind the inner workings of the chart too, because start with modern rock charts. And then occasionally we'll be going back in time and giving some old retro charts, what was popular during on this week back in whatever date it was. So I'll be figuring out fun ways to sort of go back in time, talk about the inner workings of the chart, whatnot, trips down memory lane, that sort of thing. So starting off the new year, continuing to talk all things about the Billboard Modern Rock Tracks chart. Thanks once again for tuning in to the Music Box P podcast. See you next week.